Hi guys, welcome back to Stout Sport Performance. I'm Austin Stout. One of the biggest mistakes that people make when they're doing the resistance training, and most people don't even realize that they're doing it, but they end up training like bodybuilders, which is no problem if you're trying to be a bodybuilder, but if you're somebody and you want to move well and feel good, this is going to be a problem for you. If you want to go and you want to play pickup sports with your friends, you want to be able to play with your kids and not worrying about pulling a hamstring, or you want to be able to treat, deal with, and manage persistent soft tissue and joint pain, we can't spend our time training like a bodybuilder when we go and do our resistance training. So what we're doing in today's video is to give you a brief description of how we train people at Stout Sport Performance, give you a little bit of a behind the scenes of how we develop your training so that you have an idea of what functional training is or what purposeful training is so that you can continue to do all the things you love to do without having to worry about having these freak injuries that start popping up as we get older. So we want to start with an assumption that we include into our training, which is that athletic movement and high quality athletic movement is just high quality human movement. I want to say that again because it's really important. High quality athletic movement is just high quality human movement. And the reason this is important is because when we talk about training people, if we can make you a highly functional human, if we can make you move better, then what we're really doing is making you more athletic. Now, does this mean that if you're a 9-to-5 office worker and you come to us, we're going to train you exactly like we train an elite athlete training for peak performance? Of course not. There's going to be differences within those programs, how we approach the people. It's a different ballpark. But for the most part, there's going to be a lot more similarities than there is differences. So that brings us here to how we actually program your training. And it starts with this sentence: movement precedes performance. Another way to view this is that function is going to precede fitness. All this means is the basic movement patterns that determine high quality human movement, and these are things like squatting, hinging, lunging, pushing, pulling, carrying. I include running and walking within this as well. We have to do those things well and functionally before we can train those movement patterns for greater fitness and performance. So essentially, another way to put this would be we got to be able to walk before we run. We have to move well, we have to move functionally before we start thinking about improving our strength, our power, our cardiovascular fitness, our hypertrophy. If we're people that are looking to put on some muscle mass, the movement is always going to come first. And this goes for athletes as well. And so now we're going to look here at this triangle, and this is how we actually work people through our training system. Like we said, we're always going to start with movement. That's going to be our base. If we don't have a functional movement pattern, we're going to come back, we're going to try to correct that movement pattern before we start working up this pyramid. So we're going to train you for high quality movement first, and that is going to be the base of your training. Now, once we're moving well and we have high quality movement patterns, then we're going to start improving our general fitness. This is where we're starting to challenge these movement patterns with strength training, where we train for power, where we're learning how to jump, and we're testing these movement patterns through different types of ways. We're challenging them with resistance, load, we're challenging them by performing them with 1 or 2 legs, for example. There's a million ways we could do it, but we're improving your fitness by challenging your basic movement patterns. Now, most people, by the time they get through this stage and they spend some time in this fitness world, they start realizing that they actually start moving and feeling more athletic, and it's completely normal. Because like we said, high quality athletic movement is going to be high quality human movement. Now, the one difference that we have for athletes is, or people with really specific performance goals, then we move up to this section here. Now, in the performance section, our relative risk of injury increases because we're pushing the limits on our performance to a greater extent. Some of the methods and techniques we might use might be a little bit different, but again, we're always founded by movement first, this general performance, capabilities and qualities second. And then when we really need to, when we need to push for top performance, if you have a specific goal or you're an athlete playing a specific sport, then we move up into this performance category and we start to do some different things. But for the most part, for most people, we're living here, and we can call this the move well, feel good section of our training system. So we train people to move well. We train them for function first. Movement precedes performance. Function is going to precede fitness at Stout Sport Performance.